Good morning. Welcome to Retro Toy Princess. I am Allison Joy. And hello. Let me pop that up there really quick. Good morning. So lovely to see you, Rhea, as always. I'm going to say it both ways, just because I love saying it both ways. Hope you're having a good morning. And yeah, you did not miss it. Yeah, no, here we are. Originally, Toy Sorceress from Toy Habits was going to join me today, but there was a toy convention that she was going to. And I briefly was like, well, let me find somebody to join me. It's Sunday. But then I remembered I'm really behind on my 1984 Masters of the Universe book, because the goal is, some of you will remember, I wanted to finish it this year. I'm not on track to do that, so I'm like, instead, let's work on that this morning. And also, I'm about to take a little time off, which you won't notice. I've got a bunch of pre-records. All of my content for the rest of the month is scheduled and ready to go. There just won't be live streams for a few weeks, but it will look like live streams because I have a pre-record next week with Derek from yesterday's, Mr. Derek J. Hoover. And then the week after that is Bud from My Buddy's Customs. And the week after that, it's not quite a live stream pre-record, but it's fun. So anyway, we'll talk about that later. Anyway, I wanted to work on Beastman and Zodac here. It's a fun picture. Zodac is one of my favorite characters in MOTU. My first two figures I bought were Tila and Zodac. So for me, that's MOTU. So yeah. Good morning, Nolan. Lovely to see you. Thank you for arriving and visiting. And good morning, Chris Plastic. I will give you all the heads up. I was on Clubhouse with Oz and company really late last night. And haven't, since I didn't, I'm just doing this method and didn't have to quote unquote groom and present myself for camera. I slept in, so my words may be a little patchy because I'm still waking up. So I do apologize if I sound incoherent at times. I'm still waking up. The coffee has not quite kicked in. That's the perfect time to work on art and MOTU. So anyway, with that said, I'm going to start with making some borders. And I haven't decided on the sky yet. So we're just going to, I'm just going to use a really light blue because regardless of what I use, the light blue never does wrong. And I'm going to make the border a little bit, like Zodac's elbow is going to stick past it a little bit. I've been having a little bit of fun with some of my recent pages. And it's partly because of the way they did these coloring book pages. They didn't always finish all of the art. It was about, especially with MOTU, just sort of the characters. So I am going to take advantage of that though to like do some fun stuff with the borders. So yeah, Zodac's gonna go past the border a little bit, and once I do the explosion, I'm gonna take some of that past the border I'm making. Just because stuff like that interests me when I see it in art. I kind of like when things bust out of the frame. So this is a good way to practice stuff like that. So one of the fun things, in my opinion, if you are sort of doing adult coloring, is it gives you a really good opportunity to try things. And since it's not like your own personal art, it's a lot easier to be risky about stuff. So I'm going to start with the background. And I'm going to start with, it's black raspberry. It's a really sort of really dark purplish red that has a lot of brownish to it. So I'm going to use that to sort of work on the mountain in the back. And then I'm going to try to do a lot of purples and blues and yeah. So anyway, let's see what's happening in chat. Good morning, Alex. Lovely to see you this morning. And Random Diorama. Lovely to see you. If you aren't watching Random Diorama, you should. amazing work. Also, he was on A Punk with Toys Thursday with a Friend the other night, and it was one of the like most fun. Sorry, words are hard this morning. It was a really great episode. They had a great conversation, so please check that out. Good morning, Lawrence. Lovely to see you. Thank you, everyone, for making it out. So as I sort of mentioned, Zodac is one of my favorite characters. I also like Beastman a lot. So this was just a fun page, and we see Zodac actually using his weapon, and which isn't as common because they quickly made him a cosmic, sort of a neutral character. This was before he was evil, and then the evil thing only lasted a little bit too. They never quite figured out what to do with Zodac, which is too bad because, like I said, I like the character. I like a lot of the early MOTU where they talk about him being a bounty hunter, which is what they meant by Cosmic Enforcer, and I always felt it was too bad that they never sort of explored that more. But, you know, they were making a lot of it up on the fly, and it was before Filmation, so Mattel's original intent was that we were going to just sort of make up most of the details. They would give us some rough character ideas, give us a little bit of story in the mini comics, and we would do the rest. And of course, Filmation and all those storybooks started coming out and just giving us really in-depth stuff. So, and there are pros to that and there are cons to that. So I always liked the Eternia and the character stories that I got to make a little bit more than Filmation. But I don't know. That was one of the places where I guess I was a little bit more imaginative than some of my friends. A lot of them always wanted to play the movie or play the TV show, and I always wanted to make up stories. So I think I was ideal for toys that way. Let's see. Good morning, Quip. Lovely to see you today. No worries. I get it. Sunday. Good morning, Lewis. And that's fine. Lewis or Louie. You never corrected me, so I know it can be pronounced either way. So if you're offended by Lewis or Louie or whichever it is, just let me know and I'll say it correctly. And no problem with lurking. Not everyone wants to chat, and that's, you know, just whatever is comfortable. But thank you for saying hello, so I know you're there. So anyway, I'm just using this black raspberry. I had to double check. It's that early. I had to double check to make sure it's still black raspberry. And just straight up putting some shade into these rocks. It helps give it some depth. It makes it look a lot deeper. And the autofocus issue with StreamYard is back and seemingly worse than before. So I apologize for that. I don't know what to do to get around it other than switching to a webcam, and my webcam is not as good. So I am looking into getting a better webcam. So I think it's one of the disadvantages to StreamYard in doing this. A lot of the people who do art stuff don't use StreamYard. They use, some of them use OBS, but we all know OBS has its own issues. So I will figure it out. That's one of the things on my time off. I'm going to investigate some other options. See if the other people doing art use. See if I can get some of that improved, because it annoys me when I do my watch back. I can't imagine for people watching it live. So anyway, let's see. No, it was fun. It was just it was nice to see. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. There's a way to. It's just taking the time to do that. Between my day job and life and making content, I haven't had a lot of time. But like I said, I've got some time off, and that's one of the, I mean, I'm taking some actual time off where I'm just not, I also have to travel a little bit and deal with some family stuff. But in that is going to be like a week where I just sort of sit and play with tech stuff and figure stuff out so that I can get better at content creation, because I am on July 1st. I believe it's July 1st. Marks 1 year of me making stuff and putting it up on this YouTube channel. So I want to take a little time before we hit the 1 year mark to try to improve some stuff. And then I've got plans for, I'm referring to it as Retro Toy Princess Season 2. I'll probably do a video talking about what I want to do with the channel for the second year. Because I did make a 5-year plan when I started this, which sounds silly. It doesn't mean I'll quit in 5 years. It's just what I wanted my first 5 years of content to be. Because I watch a lot of TV. I'm sure most of us do. And what I noticed was there are a lot of shows that had no plan. And you would get 1 or 2 really good seasons. And then after that, it would fall apart because it wasn't planned. And they had to make up stuff on the fly. See, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Even Lost, to a degree, feels like they didn't actually plan far enough in advance. And then, yeah, Buffy the Vampire Slayer is just the one that comes to mind, where it just sort of kept, and some of that was just because it was so successful that they kept renewing them. Some shows probably wouldn't have felt like that, but I made a plan, so I'm going to revise it, work on it, and then I'll do a video so that you guys sort of know what to expect. But it'll be fun. I've got a lot of fun plans. All right, so I've got my mountains and my rocks about where I want them. I'm now going to work on the sky. So we've got an explosion. This rock is basically going to use this, but I'm not going to do the rocks just yet. I'm going to do my sky. Because Beastman is like bright and orange and red, I'm going to go for something a little bit different in the background. I'm going to do some pastels. Because I think that would work pretty nicely against the rest of the colors I want to use. So I'm going to start with Amethyst. And, you know, you got to add like a planet or a sun or something in the background. You know, what is trying to fancy these pages up if you don't add like some sort of celestial object. So there we go. I'm just going to start putting in the color. This is a technique I've been playing with for skies. So I don't know how successful it is yet because I haven't done a lot of it, so hopefully it works out. I've been playing with it for like more of sunrise sets, but because Eternia is, you know, like an alien world, I think there's a little bit of room to play with it for something other than like normal sunrise sunset colors. So we'll see how it works. And I'm going to use paint pens to go in where the blasts are to work on the effect. So I'm not too worried about the colors from this impacting that, because once I put the paint over it, it won't be as itch, hopefully. And again, that's the second part of this, is I've never quite done that before. So either I will succeed today while you guys are watching, or I will fail miserably. And either way, it's fun. You don't know if you don't try. And, you know, art is about doing new stuff, trying stuff. Even if you're not, you know, this is never, 1,000 years from now, none of this stuff is going to be hanging in a museum. And I'm okay with that. It makes me happy, and hopefully you guys are enjoying. You enjoy the ride of it as well. Let's see. Oh, let me check in really quick. We've got some more people in the chat. Good morning, Cobb. Lovely to see you. For the webcam, I just have a Logitech. For what I use for streams, I just use my iPhone right now. And that's one of the things. I have to upgrade to something that's not an iPhone. Good morning. Oh, wait. That's Lewis. We already said that. Sorry, Lewis. Good morning. Well, it's morning-ish here on the West Coast, but thank you, Kenzo, and I hope you brought out the olives. Kenzo now stars in a meme for the olives, so that is on my Instagram. It was, but it was a shorthand for, you got to remember, this is what I remind myself, is it was for little kids. And you wanted kids to have a quick way to know how to identify the good guys from the bad guys. That was actually sort of, it's going to have a little bit of the orange for Beastman, but I'm going to go a little bit more red. And definitely Zodac, in this picture, Zodac has gloves. So I don't tend to try to fix that stuff. So he definitely is going to have some white gloves. And Beastman is going to be way more red. I may put a little bit of orange in places, but my goal is he's going to be a little bit more stylized because of the way the blast effect should work. He's not going to be, because of where he's under it, the light's going to be a little different. Whether I can achieve that or not, we'll see. Part of it is, half of the shorts I do, if there's a cool effect, I literally probably figured it out while making that short. So a lot of this is me trying to figure out how to make stuff look cool and different and get certain effects. So we'll see if I can succeed. But yeah, he's going to primarily be red. And I've got about 3 different shades of red that I'm going to use. I call him Alcala. I think most people refer to him as the Alcala Beastman, where he's red. And I've done a few things where he's that color. So, yeah, because, Beastman is cool. So, but also to get to that red, I start with a base coat of like yellow. So it'll be, for a second or two there, it'll look off when we get to there. So, all right. And now we've got sort of that light amethyst in there. I'm going to go a little bit darker. This shade is called Parma Violet. And it's a darker purple. I'm just going to sort of lay it in, again, really loosely, sort of scratchy, to create some bands. Oh, hello. Thanks for popping in, Toy Mama. Lovely to see you today. So yeah, so yeah, just getting that purple in there. It's already sort of creating a nice effect. To my eye, looks like it's showing up all right on computer. On the computer camera. Sorry. It's still early. And now I'm going to go in with hot pink, which should hopefully give it a little bit more of a alien sky planet look. Although sometimes here on Earth we get some of these colors in our night, in our sunsets and sunrises. Just not quite this prevalent, so. Okay, sky is done. So now I'm going to go in with Deco Pink, which is just a really light pink, and sort of do a blend over the top of most of these colors, so that it's not quite so blotch. It has like a blotchy look a little bit, and that's just because nothing is sort of blended. It's just laid on top of each other. So I'm going to blend, and that'll help give it an overall consistency. You don't have to worry as much about around the blast, because that's where I'm going to use the paint pens to sort of get an effect. It's just these parts that aren't going to have paint over them. All right, there we go. All right, and for the moon, I'm going to go in with this. It's powder blue. I'm just going to go along sort of the circle I made. And start dark. And then I'm going to use white to sort of blend it and smooth it so that it has a glowy effect. So this is pretty close to like how I would do the Earth moon. Just white and a blue to get that look. There we go. Oh, now we've got a moon. Or a big white planet that has blue shadows. So. Okay, that looks pretty good, I think. Good morning. Lovely to see you, Carol. Thank you for popping in. I hope you're having a good morning. Let's see. So I'm going to finish the rocks now. I'm trying to figure what color I want to do. This one is a darker purple. So we're going to try that and see how it works. And I'm going to leave the edges of these rocks sort of as is, because I want it to look like the reflection of the moon is highlighting them. I'm just going to use this. This one should be Dharma purple. It's a much more purpley color. But it'll help sort of lighten up the darker, but also will sort of make it look like light cast from the sky. So I hope. Or it could not look anything like that, and that's what I think, but I like it. So I'm trying to get to a place where I don't feel the need to cover every inch of the page with color, because I think leaving some of it white helps create some depth to the image. And, you know, shadows and shading are really important to making something, in my opinion, look better. And so, sort of one of those things that I've been playing with to try to get some depth to what I'm doing. My whole goal is to sort of elevate all of these old coloring book pages. So this is sort of trying to keep in that spirit, is getting more depth and more of sort of the stuff that you would do if you were doing original art in a serious manner. So I'm just going back in with the black raspberry in a few places to give it, sort of complete some of the space I left. Oh, there we go. Good morning, Derek. Lovely to see you today. You've got big things happening at home, so I appreciate you popping in to say hello. Derek will be my guest next week on my pre-record. And without us intending it, it drops on Father's Day, which is cool because some of what we talked about was Derek's dad and Derek as a dad. So it kind of works out nicely. Like, so yeah, definitely you guys, I'm going to premiere it. I think I've set it to premiere. If not, I will be able to pop in for chat. So please, you know, pop in. Derek and I had a really good time hanging out, talking, cutting up. At some point in the future when we have time, Derek and I are probably going to do a podcast called Derek and Allison Know Things, or Allison and Derek Know Things. We'll probably alternate from week to week, so neither one of us can get too big of an ego about who's the star of the show. Me. But anyway. But yeah, definitely watch that next week. Yes, we did talk about Trap Andrew, and as if on cue, Andrew from Gatie's Toys. Lovely episode, Andrew. I didn't get to comment on it because I was watching it right as I was literally right up until the moment I launched live. So excellent episode. I love seeing all the Andrew does. For those who don't know who Andrew is, he has a channel, Gatie's Toys, and he does. He covers like all of the women of the 80s and 90s that we didn't get in toy form, that in some cases we were going to get and they just didn't get made. And he dropped a great episode this morning about Jessica from the Star Wars Droids cartoon of the 80s, who was the character I wanted most from that toy line. And then, of course, years later found out they were going to give me that figure. I do need to go and find the pro customs that you mentioned. Well, I mean, go find the link that I saved a gazillion years ago for that one, because, yeah. But anyway, that was a great episode, Andrew. I love seeing it. I've enjoyed all of your episodes, though, so once I get back from vacay, I will ping you so that we can set up you coming and hanging out again. And unlike Derek's experience with Visionaries, our Visionaries episode has done very well with the rewatch. Good morning, Brennan. Lovely to see you. Thank you for popping in. I hope you're having a good day. All right, so yeah, we've got some rocks done. And, now I have to figure out ground. But first, we'll do some grass. And for the grass, I'm going to just start with this. It's called light sap green. Can't see it because I've used so much of it, but we'll just start with that. And it's really rough. I'm not trying to be precise because this isn't the only color I'm going to use for this green. I mean for this grass, not this green. Again, it's early. Words are hard. All right, very good. Right. Next, for the green, I'm going to go in, and this is jade green. And again, I'm not doing full coverage. This is just, if you've ever looked at grass, it's all these sort of individual blades. So it's, you know, I'm just going to go in and make it look like they're blades of grass and just sort of rough and uneven, but create some texture and some direction. And I'm going to do this with a couple different colors so that at the end we have this patch of green grass. And I want to do green because we've got so many non-earth colors. I have found when working on MOTU and Princess of Power pages, since they're on alien worlds, what I enjoy and what brings it home for me is when I do one or two things that are very earth color, you know, something that we're used to seeing on Earth with all the fantastical elements. To me, it helps make it more fantastical. Your mileage will vary on that sort of thing. I know people who want everything to be weird and strange and alien and foreign. But for me, I like bringing in one or two things that we're used to that look like something on this planet to make the rest of the stuff seem more fantastical. So that is your world building preference on what you like. So if you ever start doing art like this, I support you doing it whichever way works best for you. Okay, I'm now going to go in with, it's called Celadon Green. I use this on the Friday stream for the Gamorrean Guard. It's also my Boba Fett green. So anytime I use green on Boba Fett, it's this color. And again, I'm just doing these really sort of different levels of pressure. So some are darker, some are lighter. And just sort of start blending in. A little bit more in places than others. Because again, if you go look at a patch of grass, all the different little, I guess they're, I don't know, what you call those, bundles? But the way grass grows, like even in patches, there are smaller patches within the patch. And they all sort of grow in different ways. So just trying to mime that a little bit. And this is moss green. This is a much darker green. I'm not going to use quite as much of this because it is pretty dark, but in a few seconds, it'll really, in my opinion, pay off. So. All right. And now for the last bit of grass, this is cobalt blue turquoise. And it's a lot more blue than you would normally go. But I have found that when added to sort of these muted greens, it brings a nice sort of effect. So. I've been using this particular shade to add to grass whenever when it's like a night scene. are like early morning or something and the light is not as bright. So I'm going to use that because this is obviously, it could be midday in Eternia, but the light is not sort of bright yellow or white light. So give it a little bit of this to help give it that darkness. All right, there we go. All right, I'm going to do the ground with more of this black raspberry. Just sort of to tie in the mountains with the rocks. I wasn't fully sure I wanted to do that at first, but now I feel, yeah, I do. So. And again, I think it'll help Zodac and Beastman stand out more. And that's obviously what, you know, you want all sort of the fantastical elements in the background. You want the scene to be cool, but at the end of the day, it's really about sort of the two of them in this fight they're having. So best to highlight them, and the darker colors will work, especially because Zodac has sort of like peach colored flesh and Beastman's going to be red. So they'll stand out even more against sort of these darker purples. Hey, really quick, I just remembered. I normally put on a little music when it's just me. I'm just used to Sundays being a guest, so there we go. That way. I think the music is more helpful to me than it is to you, but I also have that thing where I can't always sleep when it's quiet, so. It's one of the advantages of cats. They're never really quiet when you want to sleep, so. And Matt snores, so there's that. He doesn't think he does, though, but he does. That is a little too loud. There we go. Much better. Yeah, Andrew, that's a good question. Are you still planning on Vickyville? I was actually just wondering that myself the other day. Is he going to talk about Vicky? Because I have no idea what the plans for Vickyville were. So, inquiring minds want to know. Anyway, just finishing up this ground. Well, this first bit of it. I'm going to go in with some other colors and a few. But I want to just get the first layer of it down. Alright, there we go. And now I'm going to use this sort of lighter purple, just a little bit. I'm going to use this throughout so that it matches the rocks, but I'm not going to quite. I'm just going to do this part that's back here with Beastman, because I'm going to work on Beastman now after I finish this. So. Alright, first bit of ground back here is done. Time to do Beastman. Alright, and then for basically, we're going to do the red Beastman from Alcala. And for that, I'm going to use the same technique that I do when I'm coloring strawberries. So I'm going to start with Deco Yellow. The two places I'm going to leave the belt, the circle, and some of his face, and the bracers. And I am going to do those in blue, just so that he's not completely lost in the red. And the next step. And next we're going to use Poppy Red. This is exact. If you've watched any of the shorts where I do strawberry shortcake, all the strawberries, this is pretty much the method I use now for strawberries. All right, so I'm gonna go in, this is pomegranate. And just sort of go over, I'm gonna use this one for his limbs and like the parts of his body that are red. It gives it a nice sort of dark red. Right, that is the pomegranate. And then this is a cadmium red. I'm gonna use this for the armor and for his shorts. And as you can see, it's a little bit of a brighter red. So he's not gonna sort of all blend together, even though there's a lot of red here. I'm also leaving parts of it white so that whenever I go in to do the blast effect, it's easier to sort of get a color and light reflection on him in places. All right, there we go. Oh. All right, and now I'm going to do the little bit of blue that I'm putting in here, and just sort of where his symbol should be. If this was a bigger picture, I would try to go in and do the detailing on his symbol, but based on sort of how small he is, it would just look too busy if I tried to do that. So I'm gonna skip that step, and then we're gonna do the belt and his bracers and this blue. It's not quite quite a collar look, but I think because of how big he is, sort of that plus the two different red overlays will help him from completely blending in and just being a red blob. A little bit of the blue on the face. All right. So I haven't figured out fully sort of how I want to make the blast effect, but I am going to go in and put a little bit of this black raspberry on the rocks. Not a lot though, because this is obviously where the blast effect's going to happen, so a lot of that would not, just based on how the light would work, it's not going to be fully covered, so. Let me get some of it. Some of the color of the rocks would be there. So. They are, but this is the other thing I will say, Andrew. They are deeply grateful that anyone remembers their toy line exists. I drop about one gem short a month, and I've had a couple color and chills, and the gem fans are really just happy that people are making stuff about their favorite toy line. So it's as long as you don't insult them, you know, insult gem, they're fine. I mean, I have a gem short that I dropped, oh god, like last October that is up to, it got like 60 views the first day, and I'm like, nobody likes gem. It's, as of this morning, it's at like 600 views, because just over time, gem fans have found it and watched it. So gem is one of those properties where it's like got a very small, devoted fan base, and as long as you treat gem and friends with respect, they're there for it. They will support you. They will watch it. They'll watch it a couple of times. No olive green in there. Nope. Didn't have anything quite that dark. I did not bring out the olive. Have a good party, Derek. We'll talk to you later. But yeah, so. No olive tree cob, sorry. I don't know if they have olives on Eternia. That's a good question. I mean, I suppose at some point we could have got like Oliver, Olivor, and he could have been the evil master of olives. That would have been a cool toy. I think I'm gonna go design that figure now. He has a staff made out of an olive tree branch. And then he extends it, making you think he's wants peace, and then he whacks you with it. Be very 80s. Alright, the rocks have been started. And I have to figure out what color I want Zodac's ray to be. I'm leaning toward blue or toward yellow. So I feel like both of those would be. And red, his gun is red, Beastman is red, so I don't want to do more red for the blast. Feels like that would be a little too much red. I'm just going to work a little bit more on the ground over in here with this lighter purple. Okay. Yep. Got more of the ground. I'm gonna work on Zodac now. So. And for Zodac, obviously we're doing flesh tone. Well, no, let me rephrase that. We are doing peach flesh tone. Sorry. Zodac's flesh tone is not actually the only flesh tone. So. Anyway, I start with eggshell, and that is. I'm just going to put that roughly all over because it's not the primary color that I'm going to use for the skin. It's like a base coat. Once I add in some other colors, we'll get him there. The Zodac figure always sort of had a grayish, it wasn't sort of like the tan of He-Man or even like a bright peach. So I'm going to try to recreate that. I have a couple different pencils that are used for skin tones that I think will help sort of create that effect. So, or at least make sure he has a different skin tone than the one I use when I do He-Man and the one I do for like Tila. And obviously Man-at-Arms is green, so. And I haven't done a mini comic Stratos yet. I should do that in one of these pages because I have a couple Stratos pages that are sitting on the pile of stuff I haven't touched yet. So I'll do one of those as mini comic skin tone. Alright, and his little bit of face poking through there. And I think that's supposed to be his neck, but the way they've drawn it, it looks like he has like a collar. So we're going to call that a collar. Oh, and I can't forget the feet. This is an interesting portrayal. He's got the monster feet, but gloves instead of the monster hands. Or Zodac. Define expectations from the get-go. Alright, next for Zodac, I'm going to use, this is called Nectar. And it's a darker skin tone. If you're working on sort of the Caucasian side of things. It's closer to my skin tone because it has a lot of red in it, so. I'm going to use it primarily sort of to do like the muscles and where the shade should be on the skin. And a big part of the secret if you're trying to figure out how to do skin tones is just it takes more than a single color, and it's a lot of it is shading. I think as a kid, I always just sort of took the peach crown or the brown crown and colored. And now, of course, it doesn't quite look right if you do it that way. It's very flat. So, as my art teacher used to say, nobody is that color because it's not a real color. I had a pretty good art teacher for elementary school. So I was fortunate that way. Alright, Alright, second bit of skin tone for you. Good morning, Dennis. Lovely to see you. Excellent. Oh, nice. Yeah, I have heard that. I think you also had mentioned that whenever we did the Visionaries, about how, like, the voice of Jem and Jericho was just really cool. I know people who have met Britta Phillips, who's the same voice, and says she's just lovely. That's the other side, and an olive branch staff that he smacks people around with. You know, like, I think we all have goals in life, and I think for many of us, we would like to live. I would love to live on Etheria, where it's all about, like, you know, jealous cat women and bee people, and lots of adventures involving mermaids, and the one dude who lives there has his heart on his chest. And this is Seashell Pink, and this, despite being called Seashell Pink, it's really got it's really good for skin tones of the Caucasian variety, and it has, to my eye, a sort of a grayishness to it that is perfect for Zodac. So 2 or 3 times I've colored is something with Zodac, I've always used this as my final layer of skin tone because it comes pretty close to capturing sort of the grayishness of the plastic they used for him. There we go. Oh. But you know, if all of your junk is covered, you would not get arrested. So, I mean, there are people who wear, you know, like, I know a dude who wears a kilt and doesn't wear underwear with it, and every day when he goes in public, it's like it's a felony waiting to happen. So, but they can't arrest him unless he, like, gets too boisterous with the flash. So. All right, and that finishes the skin. And then Zodac, I'm gonna have to quickly pull him. I always forget the color of his belt. Zodac vintage figure. Let's see. Alright, gray shorts, white belt. So we'll start out with this really light gray. And then his boots are also gray, so I'll use that also on the boots. And we're going to do white gloves. Alright, let's see. So I've done that really light gray, and I'm going to go in with a lighter gray. I almost want it to look silver for these ankle boot bracer things, so I'm going to go in like that. Alright. And now we're going with this darker gray for the shorts, because those are much darker. And with this, I'm going to kind of create the furry look of his shorts. Alright, and final step, I'm going to go in with a really dark gray that's almost black. It's like 90% gray. Again, it just helps sort of create that furry textured look. And as you can see, he does not have very much cake, so Cosmic Enforcer, tiny butt, so. But there are women who like that, and men, so. Yeah. Doesn't always have to be Dick Grayson cake. I'm gonna go in right now with this lighter gray to sort of help give it a little bit of a, like the light reflection almost. So there we are. Alright, so the belt and the gloves are white, and then we've got some gray and some red for his helmet. So his little earmuff thingies and the band around them are all gray. So I'm just going to use this darker gray for those. And the little ear flaps. I guess they're fins. I'll call those fins, like on a car. And then that looks like, yeah, the chin strap is also gray. You'd think I'd remember this, but I don't. Okay, and then yeah, it looks like the artist tried to recreate the toy. So this gray band is also, this neck band is also going to be gray. Okay. And then I'm going to go on with a lighter gray, just to sort of create a little bit of a dimension to it. Right, there we go. Alright, and then for Zodac, I'm going to use the poppy red, which is that oranger of the two reds. I'm not going to go in and do as many layers as I did with Beastman, just so that you've got two different reds. I want them to look the exact same. All right, there's all of that. Good morning, Dutch. It's lovely to see you. Thanks for popping in. Hello, Bobby. Nice to see you as well. And definitely go check out both Duchess and Bobby's channels if you like storytelling. It's a great place to go get that. Duchess does horror and Bobby does neo-noir with monsters and stuff. So they're both amazing. I enjoy both of them. I'm a little behind on Duchess, but as I've been trying to get to my time off, I've been saving a few things so that first day all I have is to kick back and enjoy stuff. So we're gonna quickly do the Zodac white gloves. I'm not gonna actually do any color with it. I'm just gonna use blue to sort of do shadows, which helps create sort of a deeper white look. So I use this a lot when it's like white leather or white pleather, where I'll just go in and do a little bit of the blue. And that's what I've noticed when I look at sort of old storybooks from the 80s. A lot of times how they create sort of that white look is using a light blue. So there we go. And it doesn't even quite show up on camera, but that's kind of the nice thing about it. It helps create that look, but at the same time, doesn't really show. So it's kind of the illusion of it. One of the earliest things somebody told me when I was like, oh, I want to do sort of realistic art, is they were like, well, there's no such thing as realism. It's the illusion of realism. So there you go. All right, for the laser blast, I think I'm going to do yellow. I think with all of the other colors, the yellow will stand out better. So yeah, let's do that. Oh wow, and it looks like I will finish this one before the 2 hours is up. So we'll probably get time to start another one. Won't finish it, but we'll start another one. I like to do the full 2 hours when possible. Alright, and here we go. I'm going to do this really bright, sort of golden yellow right here. And sort of move it out like you would see in an explosion. And some of this darker purple will start to blend now, and it's got like, it gives it a red color, so that it's kind of nice. I didn't expect that, but I'm glad I picked the purple I did because it sort of helps make it look more like an explosion. Happy accidents. I'm just moving out in circular motions. Okay, here we go. These are the beginning of our explosion. Right, this is a reddish orange. It's called vermilion, or pale vermilion. And I'm gonna just go in and put a little bit in places, sort of along these blast marks. Again, it sort of helps with that, the illusion of like the explosion. I'm going to try to focus it around sort of these blast lines. And a little bit darker the further out. All right, there we go. Go in and actually put a little bit sort of in these, in the blast and the around the gun part. Very nice. All right. Use some yellow paint pen now. I'm just going to put that over sort of the black lines. I'm also going to use a little bit of this white paint pen. All right, there we go. All right, and yeah. Thank you very much, Adams. And then, yeah, exactly. Neutrality, it always gets you in the end. And I actually just finished this one, so let's get this one off the table. I will take a photograph of it and stick it up on Instagram a little bit later. As you can see, this is page 68 from the book. I have not done 68 pages because I've been jumping around. But this is one of the pages. that I've been looking forward to, because as I said at the beginning, Zodac is one of my favorite characters. There's not a lot of Zodac out there. Alright, with Zodac aside. The other page I've got, excuse me, today, Sorceress giving He-Man his stuff. This is 1984 coloring book, so a lot of the art bridges pre-filmation and filmation. So this book has at points stuff that is before filmation took over, and then other points not so much. So we've got about 30 minutes left, so I probably will not, this one probably won't get finished on stream, but that's fine. I'll finish it today and stick it also on Instagram, but we can work on it because, like I said, I'm behind on finishing this book if I'm going to finish it in 2024. So, and this is page 17, so as you can see, I'm skipping around. So yeah, and again, we're going to give it a border. And I'm going to use the blue for it. The difference here is whenever I come in, I'm going to make these explosions coming from the Sorceress. I'm going to actually extend those out beyond the page. So I'm going to take those all the way out to the end of the page, but then I'm going to use the frame sort of that they suggest for the rest of it. So that way it's kind of, I think it's cool. As I mentioned on the other one, I'm in this place right now where I like extending the picture beyond the borders. So that's what we're going to do. And then we'll extend He-Man's leg a little bit past the bottom border. So that way, there we go. And based on sort of the background, I'm going to go with a really dark blue for the sky. And it's not actually that I want a dark blue sky per se. I just want it to stand out from like the explosion stuff I'm going to do. This is indigo blue. So really dark, sort of like night sky color. I'm going to start by filling in all of this background, which will help. And the Sorceress is blue and orange. Actually, though, at this point, this is where in the mini comics they had her like in white and pink. So I don't know. I might not do her in the blue and orange. Maybe I'll do her in one of the mini comic colors or all blue or something. I don't know. I've got a few minutes to figure it out. I've done a couple Sorceresses in her traditional colors, and I've done some in pink. So maybe I'll do one of the blue variations. If we even get that far. Because once we wrap up here, I'm going to grab lunch and I'll finish after I eat. But until then, we'll get as much of this as we can get done. I know, right? Right. Here you go. Here's the magic G-string. The magic G-string of Eternia. Strip Ore. There we go. Today we have created Olivor, Strip Ore. If we can create one more doomed character, it'll be complete. So. What's interesting about this picture, though, is, you know, this was them changing the lore but not switching it to sort of the Filmation, which in the Filmation, Man-at-Arms takes He-Man to Castle Grayskull, and the Sorceress gives him the stuff. Pre-Filmation, of course, the Goddess, aka Eternian Goddess, Green Goddess, original Sorceress figure that wasn't produced in the snake armor, gave He-Man all this stuff. In the Cavern of Power, I think, DC added the cavern, the Cave of Power. So, but this is basically whoever did the art either was told, like, hey, take the new Filmation look, the Sorceress from the cartoon, and then the page that you would have done of the Goddess and her snake armor giving him the stuff, have the bird Sorceress do it. So it's just funny how all over the place the lore. Like in the modern day, we would never forgive any property that tried to switch the lore up a year in. There would be massive outrage online. And you know, back then it's just how it was. Stuff evolved and changed. And it's like that with Star Wars. Like, you know, Darth Vader was not originally Luke Skywalker's father. It just happened once Lucas started combining all the scripts. And then even when he did A New Hope, he wasn't entirely sure about the Vader thing. That coalesced for Empire, so... I mean, Luke and Leia obviously were not brother and sister till very, you know, like very late in the script writing process of Return of the Jedi. So... that's about where we work out. So I don't know, it's just weird to me how like unforgiving we are in the modern age, like this sort of thing. But looking back at sort of all of our most beloved properties from that era, and it's like they were just all over the place constantly in the early days. I mean, there are people like myself, I prefer pre-Filmation Masters of the Universe, but I don't hate Filmation. I recently, for the episode of the Toy Geeks that Jay at Geek Dad Life is doing, that I'm the researcher for, like, I deep dived on Filmation and I learned all kinds of stuff about that company I did not know. And gotta say, like, Lou Scheimer, despite some of my misgivings about sort of his version of Masters of the Universe, like Filmation, like, was just, it's like, it's, you know, it's sad that it ended up bankrupt, and thanks Brave Star and Ghostbusters, but it's sort of really sad how it ended, because, you know, like the company itself, like he really had a vision and really wanted to create cool stuff. So I don't know, it was really interesting to read that. I'm gonna, you know, there are a few things in the it was a biography by Andy Mangels that heavily relied on interviews with Lee Scheimer. So it is, you know, like what I read was sort of from his point of view. But I think between that and the James E. Talk episode guide, I feel like I have a pretty good sense. So, and there are a couple of the properties in there that had toy lines that I had sort of some ideas around covering for my channel, so it'll pay off. But I definitely like was surprised to learn some stuff. I totally forgot Filmation was who gave us ISIS in the 70s. So the superhero one, not the organization in the Middle East. Just for clarity. Alright, there we go. There's our night sky. Alright. Alright, and we'll do the same thing for the green grass that we did with the other one. Start out with this really light color. Oh yeah, here we go. That was the one. All right, let's see. Oh. All right, for the grass this turn, though, we are going to bring out the olives and use olive green. So, just because I want to go a lot darker with the grass here because of the sky. All right, there we go. And again, we're going to use this sort of cobalt turquoise. Yeah, right? Exactly. Like, here, have this. For your special dungeon. Lord only knows what goes on in the lower corridors and caverns and chambers of Castle Grayskull. I bet Thanos could do a whole series of Wednesday content about the lower levels of Castle Grayskull. 50 Shades of Grayskull. Just gonna go in and do some side-to-side grass stuff to give it that textured look. All right, and there's the grass. And the grass is always greener right there. Right. He's like, no, save it for my daughter, sir. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I missed that one, Thanos. So I'll have to go find that one. It's not necessarily, in general, that's not sort of the sort of thing that interests me, but I enjoy the way you approach such subjects. So I find myself being able to tolerate racier things than I might normal whenever it's your content because of the humor. And they're not, it's just, I don't know. As I've said before, it's not gross to me for some reason because it doesn't feel like you're being gross about it. So I certainly appreciate that. All right, so for the sort of light effects behind her, we're gonna use the white to make it look like it's glowing. And to do that, I'm just gonna go in with this deco yellow and sort of create that wavy energy effect that you often see. So, not sure why the light is so off this morning. Let's do that really lightly around the edges. Yeah, and I think it works. So, everyone's mileage may vary, but and now for more of sort of the like glowy energy effect, I'm just gonna go with this darker yellow right along the edge. So I put a little bit of a gap between the lighter yellow, and now I'm just gonna go in with this darker yellow right along the edge. A lot of times this is how neon effects are created. Neon tends to need more black in it though, but it's often just black and then layers, sort of lines of color like this that help create neon effects. At some point I have a gem in the holograms page that that'll be the nice thing now that I'm almost done with a year of daily shorts, is that I'll be able to take a little bit more time with shorts and be able to try some stuff. But one of the things I want to do with the gem in the holograms page is do it like in neon, so it'll be fun. All right, so yeah, here we go. It's starting to get a really glow look, which I like. I think this particular page appears in one of the Paint with Water books, because I've seen this one around a few times. I have scans that somebody gave me of one of the Masters of the Universe Paint by Water books, but of course, you know, like, it's just a scan, so I can't really do Paint with Water. But at some point, I'm going to figure out a way to do something with those, because it's pretty cool. I mean, obviously, you have limited colored options, but it might just be as simple as me using the color palette that you're kind of stuck with because it's Paint by Water, and sort of see if I can fancy it up a little using the chosen color palette instead of a full range. We'll see. Again, sort of the advantage of the 1 year of doing a short every single day coming to an end is I'll have more time to sit around and play with stuff like that. And so I'm excited. It's also really cool that I'm almost done with that. Like, whenever I started it, it didn't seem like, I'm like, that doesn't seem like a realistic goal, but let's just shoot for it. And here we are. I've got one more of those to film, and I've got everything through. Like, the 1 year is, because of leap year, is like on July 17th. That would be officially 365 days. And I've got one more short to film, and I have all of them done. So probably do that this afternoon. After I have to finish editing some stuff for next week and the week after. But once those are done, I should have time. Finish those up today. Really cool. Alright, there we go. We have our explosion effect. Nice. Did you get anything good? Alright, let's see. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and do the sort of He-Man stuff. I still haven't decided if I want to do her in blue or pink or do more white effects. So while I finish sorting that out in my head, I'm going to just work on the weapons. This one's going pretty quickly. Definitely won't finish it, but I mean, it's about 15 minutes till the 2-hour mark. So definitely won't finish this one, but it won't take much longer. I don't like these streams where I finish one and then start the other. It feels way more like I've accomplished something than on the ones where I don't finish it. I don't think that I've ever had a stream with one of these Masters of the Universe 84 pages where I didn't at least finish the one page. Although I could be wrong. So it seems like I tend to finish these. So no, I'm wrong. There was the one where I picked a page with He-Man fighting through, cutting his way through trees that I didn't finish, but that one had like 1,000 leaves, and I literally got into the weeds with that one. Here we go. There's the bad joke for the day. Oops. Alright, shield is done, and We're gonna make the inside of this orange because that's what my the vintage. Well, my brother had He-Man, I didn't, but this was orange, so we're gonna go with orange. I think sometimes I see it done in red, but my memory is that it was orange. And so I got that sort of vermilion, that reddish orange, and then I'm going to do a darker orange, and then I'm going to go back with the vermilion orange. And we'll sort of blend it. Helps give it the shadow and the depth. Alright, and then for the little iron, I realized the other day, iron is another place where if I'm not careful, my southernness comes out with iron. So, the iron, the iron. Now I can't stop. Oh my gosh. At least it's not as bad as the week where Aaron, the toy enhancer, was with me and it just devolved into me being southern the whole episode. But, yeah, so, alright, there we go. And for this sword, I'm going to actually use this glitter gel pen. Put a little glitter on here. Because whenever you can, you should glitter it up. And that could be an unproduced, a new Princess of Power character, Glitterella. Alright, there we go. And it's nice and shiny, which is always good. Alright, let's start on He-Man. Again, it's about 9 minutes left, so I'm definitely not going to finish even He-Man. So as far as what I end up doing with the Sorceress, that will be on Instagram later today, but we'll get as far as we can get in the next 9 minutes. It's funny, earlier I was like, wow, things are going kind of slow. And then I looked up and it was an hour and a half later, so. It's a nice thing about, for me, the coloring is you hit a place with it where it's like time just starts flying. All right. For He-Man shorts, I tend to go with a dark, it's sepia, and I go in with that first. And again, just sort of do the lines like you would see on fur. And now I'm going to go in with the burnt ochre. And then I'm going to go back in with the darker, just make sure that it's not too light. But mostly along sort of like the belt line, which is where the shadow would be. And there is that. Alright, for He-Man's hair, I start with cream, just like a yellowish color. And I also use that for the top of the boots. And then go back with the burnt ochre. And now for the fur down here, I'm going to put in a little bit of pumpkin orange. Just along the top. And now I'm going to go back in with the cream and sort of blend it in and soften it so it's not quite as dark. Okay, and for the rest of the boot, I'm just going to go in with the burnt ochre. In this case, they've made the boot sort of smooth without any of those wraps or anything. I'm going to go in and do some of the wraps. And first with the ochre, then I'm going to go in with that sepia again and just sort of trace where it should be, where the shadows would be from those. And then sort of the heel of his boot. Okay, and now just back in with the ochre. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I prefer that version, but you know, I'm picky. Yeah, Glitterella, Glitter Warrior. Well, hello. Well, I'm going are all going ham. There's so many different things that can be. It could be, and it probably should be, Andrew. As you will discover next week, and when you listen to on Sunday, me and Derek go on and on about you and your robe costume. So you might feel a little like sexualized, and I apologize. Now I'm just going in with that pumpkin over the ochre and the sepia to sort of give the boots a little bit more definition. Some variance. And it's a lot closer to the shade of paint that Mattel used on a lot of Wave 1 He-Man, where those boots were really red. So, here you go. Alright, I'm happy with the boots. Let's see, it's a minute till the normal stop time, but we're gonna finish his hair at least. I can't leave you in a lurch about what's going on with his hair. So I did the cream, and then I used the ochre, and we're gonna use the last little goldenrod here to just go in and do a little bit more of the color of his hair. Get him that sort of golden blonde look. And then we will finish his hair up with yellow ochre. This is pretty close to what I do when I do Barbie hair. So if you've ever wondered what colors does that bitch use when she's doing Barbie's hair, these are the ones. I'll say it's pretty much the same. She-Ra has pretty much the same composition of hair that Barbie did in the 80s. So, like, there's a lot of white blonde in it. There's a lot of gold in it. So, He-Man is overall, I do him with a lot more of the gold because, you know, he had more gold hair than he did blonde hair. Alright, and there's the hair. Alright, and with that, I'm obviously not going to get to his skin or the sorceress in this one. But this will be up on Instagram in a little bit today. And I think I'm going to go all blue with her. Is the way I'm sort of feeling. I'm going to do... I sort of got this lighter blue, and then I've got Caribbean Sea blue, and I think between the two of those, with like yellow for the eyes and for the beak, I think it'll look pretty good, and it'll match sort of the darker blue and be nice with this sort of explosion effect she has behind her. So anyway, that's that. And really quick, we finished a whole page today, so that's really cool. And I'm really happy with my explosion effect and my sky and sort of the shadows, so really happy with this one. So I appreciate you all. Right? Yeah, awkward laughter. I'm not going to highlight the comments it's in relation to because the less said about those, the better. So again, sorry, Andrew. But, you know, it could be worse. Exactly. All right. So yeah, that's it. Thank you. Next week will be the pre-record with Derek, where we talk about stuff and sexualize Andrew. Sorry, Andrew. And also this week I've got dropping an episode of My Favorite Toy about Huckleberry Pie. It's the first video I'm going to drop that has a trigger warning in it. Because Derek very kindly read the script and was like, whoa, you didn't warn me about this thing. So anyway, it will have that. I'll probably do that as a premiere. So I'll be in chat to chat about it if you have feelings or you want to scream at me for being an evil triggering bitch. Next Friday there is I believe it's Merman cardback art coloring show. Could be wrong. It could be, yeah, no, it's Merman. And the next weekend is another Kenner booklet. So that's up until Derek and I minimize Andrew's brain capacity by reducing him to a body. So apologies again, Andrew, but you know, it's art. So anyway, Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. I appreciate you as always. These are really fun for me. And I'm finally getting used to doing these on my own. So, in season 2, there will be more solo color alongs like this. So, exactly, it's art. 1,000 years from now, just think of it, Andrew. The aliens will be researching our culture, and will come across that episode of me and Derek, and you will be revered among their people as some sort of Adonis type. So there you go. Anyway, thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate you as always. And I will see you again in the next one. Retro Toy Princess out.